Hello, this is Gerald Tuavamas. Let's go to the word bathtub, which is an emphasis with tub on what bath can mean much more specifically as the object in which the bath is appearing. And that is a kind of reference which is also literal. All the letters direct you to a certain association of directions and positions, which is not just associated by memory, by learning the association of the word with an image, with a subject, whatever. But there is a systematic direction in the letters, which is balanced out by our brain and which gives us the positions that it needs, which goes to the positions that it needs. There's a system behind the whole letter combinations and combining letters, and all the letters have a specific position of distinctions between positions, distinctions between directions, and distinctions also between a contextual frame that brings us to the right position in time and space at the moment where conditions are met. All these letters are combined here in my scheme here at the right. So you have a foundation of points in space, you have a foundation of directions, and then this contextual frame also that points us into the direction of recognizing where things are where they should be. Bathtub is then these two words, which I will split first. I had bath before, so I will do that again. And I will give you also suggestions how you can recognize it by the categories themselves here. There are three categories, and there are three different ways of thinking of finding the spot where you need to be, finding the image also as an association, what it should be. So let's go to bath first. You have already a resume here at the left that you have some idea where it will go to. So, but first let's go to the first word. The first word has three letters of the first category, so they will be about that first category, which is very much a focus into one point, just as we focus into space. And we focus into space to find out positions also of objects. So it's a very objective reality. That's the first category, in which you have with bath the letter A, and you have also the letter B. The letter B, I have here the position of the letter B. The reading the 9 letters here is, you see it here in a certain position, but actually it goes from the middle to the volume or the body to the outer shell. Actually, that's the right way to read it. And the B is then in this volume. This volume is extending. You give more attention to the volume and the extension itself of the volume. That's what is your emphasis when you focus upon a letter like B. There are always three ways to pinpoint something, but in general also, and it is about this balance between these three sorts of categories and sorts of orientations, and the emphasis on in space are points in space. So these black points are the most important. But there's also the association of the frame in which it fits, and there's also the association of the direction in which the things are going. So that's why you have also the arrows in all categories. The points are only in the first category. The arrows are more important in the timing, because you find directions and so on. And the frames are of course more important in the last category. But now all these things are always there at the same time, but the emphasis is different. Here the emphasis on the points. We want to point out the place. Where is the place? It's the place is in that volume, in that value of where the object is forming itself. So I have the B there. It's BA and not AB, otherwise you would go from the middle to the side. Now we have to start from B and then at an A, so that's the way of thinking I have to deal with as well. The right order of words is first start from the B. So let's start from B. So B is emphasized, it's even emphasized more. It's you see it's at the edges of extending itself. So yeah, but it's also with a larger focus. The A is about focus. I give it extra focus. I put it into green because it's on the second level. It's growing. You have an impression of growing. Even though it's about fixed points, you have that impression, okay, there's something that is there where the changes are. So I have that extending form there, the B, which has a frame and which also has a direction if you want, but they are less important. The most important is the point. So let's put that point there. It's at the level 2, so there are also two positions that are important. So in a way, B is a comparison between right and left. We mostly go to one direction to have the idea that's enough, but that idea is dual formed. It's a dualization of forming itself in that position there. So the BA is then that position which is emphasized as a singular focus with the direction and in two parts. And also because it's with the form, I can emphasize it even that I am going towards the borders. I'm going towards the border a little bit within the volume still. I'm still not at the edges. But I have this impression that it's there as a certain importance. It's breaching my volume from inside actually. And then the A is also say, okay, go forward with it. So here I have the full perspective of it. I shouldn't have too much on it, don't overthink it. But then the T goes up again. It goes up and it puts my focus to the position of that I notice where something was different, becomes different. So the bat is that position in space where you say, okay, where are the differences when we meet a breaching point or something like that, where it is growing. But it's combined with H. H is from the last category. I'll put the three categories into perspective here a little bit. It's the emphasis on the spatial reference frame, which says, okay, here is a zone which has a good feedback process, a positive feedback process. Here goes the feedback process. There is an idea, a general idea, that I have a frame which can be added at some point. Combined with T, I have to add it at the point where I have my frame underneath, of course. And underneath, where you have this pressure building up to the side, I have this frame in which it will fit, and there I will have my emphasis of my attention that, okay, here somewhere in this space, in the breaching point of space, I have something that it has an extension. It's extending outwardly. It's growing inwardly. There is a frame inside. There's a space inside that I could fill in. So that's that bath, an extension outwardly. The frame, trying to breach the frame a little bit, and filling in. It's not filled in immediately, it's only filled in when the conditions are met. When we sense that, okay, here it's there, here I can use it as a bath, then I can fill it in. It's not filled in automatically, it's only filled in time and space when I have that impression, okay, I can breach that space at the borders. So that's the idea actually of bath. It's still quite abstract actually, bath itself. So if you want really the object where the bath can be, like the bathtub, in bath you only had three letters of space and of physical reference, which is bat, which is the extending, a physical extending in space until you reach the border, until you reach the frame. That's the bat. Like the bat also tries to reach the borders in space in a way as well, but it's combined with H, so it is about the framing. So I'm having a frame and I can fill it in at a certain point. But what can be filled in? How can it fill in which object can it filled in? If I have tub to it, bathtub, this frame that needs to be filled in will have also an object in which it can be filled in. Tub are three letters from the first category, so there are three letters that are having a reference in space, but also of an objective point in space, so also from an object, from something objective, so something physical. So it is that physical space which will now be filled in also with a physical frame. Tub will make it a physical frame. And let's build that up. Tub. So I have the T. T is in that position within the it is compared to the as a center point. It's also within a certain volume upwardly, so it goes towards the volume. But because it's the next letter is U, which is in dual form, a new starting point, I have then these two starting points in which I can use one starting point at a certain point. I have that T upwardly there. I have two already expressed there as a hollow expression, with B with extension again at the outwardly borders, at the borders. And this B, I emphasize as well that it has that impression at the surface, from a centralized position of the form, that it has that physicality also at that point of T. And when I put bath inside it, which is basically the filling in space at a certain point towards the borders filled in, here I have the object, the bathtub, that can fill that in as a bath. It can make a bath from the bathtub. The bathtub is associated here, and that's it, how it can be sensed easily with the explanations that I did before. Let's build it up very quickly once more, so that you, with a bit of educational value there, simplified approach there of bath. Of course, you have that physical reference frame here, where bat is that materialization pointed out in space and ending in a frame. The last position is where does it end in? What is the end effect? The end effect will be the frame, the framing. But first you have B. B is that point that you have with the pressure outwardly, where you focus upon, which also says, okay, let's go up in two parts, and then with H going towards the outer frame. the outer frame says with the feedback, okay, when the feedback is right, then I can fill it in after a while. It keeps itself abstract, that I wait for the right moment to fill that space in. Then with the top, I will have the focus on the T position again, the T with the hollowness of the U, and the B, which I emphasize again, on top of the T. On top of the T, I will have that pressure going outwardly. Emphasize it a little bit. Emphasize it as a breaking open idea, so that I have the bath top in the end, with of course that filled in space of the bath that can be filled in whenever you want. I hope that it was clear enough. I'm just focusing upon the letters, how you associate them as frames, like in H, as points, as in T or even in B, and the directions in this case were of minor importance. When time is involved, when directions are really the main focus, then the directions are the main focus as well. Here the directions are more a way to say, okay, I still have the impression that it breaks open a little bit. I have with the B, it's there as well. But it's not about that direction. It's there and it's potentially there, and I deal with it. But I deal with, from the closed category, with points mainly, and that's what bath and top mainly are doing. They are directing your mind towards the setting of where the points lay, in which the bath will produce you the frame to be filled in, and the top will produce you the border lines, the lines actually in which that bath can be filled in. I hope that was clear enough. It was another example that how you can interpret the theory and understand why the letters are combined for expressing certain words. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye.